get a mindset out of our culture because they still going back to, oh man, slavery, they did us this. And I'm like, you still harping on that, man. I never harped on that.
It's just going to rustle up a lot of feathers. And if I post this on TikTok, I'm going to get a lot of hate comments. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to post it on TikTok, but I'm going to say it here. So it looks like rapper and entrepreneur Master P has said some things about the black community that they don't like. But I don't see any issues with what he's saying. Let's go ahead and check out and see what's really being misunderstood. Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a channel where we look at all things politically, biblically, and socially. Trying to find the truth, seek understanding, and be the light. It's your boy Big Blue. So turns out Master P was on the Forbes interview, and apparently he said some things that the community are not fond of. And I don't even know exactly everything that he said, but I did find the section. So let's go ahead and so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna watch what he said. I saw some of it, but we're gonna see exactly what he said, what the conversation was about, because we need context. And then we're gonna look at some TikToks and see, what some of these people, what some of these Black Americans are talking about that are in refute. Because if he's talking about, removing the slave mindset from your head, you already know I'm for it. But apparently that's a hard thing to do, or something that the Black community doesn't want to do for whatever reason. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. And let's check it out.
When you think about, again, being yourself, what's been the biggest surprise of the stardom? I mean, you've been in this game for a very, very long time. What's been the biggest surprise about it all?
Our own culture don't believe that we could do it. Because they just don't get it. They're like, how you could do this? I mean, like, if I could do it, anybody could do it. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just got to have integrity and do good business. And these doors will open up for you. Building great relationships. And I think that's
integrity, good business, and building relationships. That sounds to be a consistent thing when it comes to being successful, at least starting from the small and going up. A lot of people say different about Amazon and Facebook, but essentially, of all the people that I know that are very successful, they'll say the exact same thing.
It's the biggest thing for me, trying to get that negative mindset out of our culture, because they still going back to, oh man, slavery, they did us this. And I'm like, you still harping on that, man. I never harped on that, because I can't change the past, but I can change the future. And I think you got to get used to us being successful. And I think a lot of us, we block our own blessings because we don't think that we could do it because we're looking at a color. So, I mean, Muhammad Ali was a guy that, and I love his story, because he didn't care about that. He just wanted to be around good people, but he did represent for the culture. Right. And I want more African-American owned tennis shoe companies. I don't want this just to be me. I want so many different product brands owned by us, but making it for everybody. Because think about it, when other cultures make products, they don't make it for them, they make it for everybody. And so I want that mindset of our people. If I could change that, that's the way we're gonna bridge the wealth gap.
What's been the biggest negative surprise of it all? The biggest negative surprise of the stardom?
Our people can't work together. Think about when I go down Rodale Drive and see all these stores. They're owned by all the same kind of looking people. None of them fighting. None of them caring about what each other have or got. And I love that. I want to see that for our culture and our people. That's why I fight to educate our culture and our people. Because we got to get on that page. Like, if we get on that page, we're going to be dangerous, because we spend $1 trillion a year.
2.1 trillion.
2.1 trillion, think about it. And we don't own nothing. And we make 0.1% of Black CEOs in Fortune 500 companies, but we spending all the money.
Okay, so my 2 cents in regards to that, and I know a lot of the Black people, it's so weird, because it's like, after that conversation I had on the Trevor Jackson show, talking with, the two people that were, I don't even know if they identify as FBA, or like, do I just call them FBA? I don't know, guys. Y'all let me know exactly how to identify these people. But I keep saying, I'm not trying to be rude, guys. But when you identify as something else, then I'm going to mark you as something else. So essentially, the conversation that I had with them was that it was in regards to reparations. And one of the biggest things was like, with the guy was, oh, I consider myself as a Haitian, so I can't talk on reparations because I'm not black. I don't, I haven't, the history of the Black American or the FBA does not apply to me type thing. And I agree with them. You're absolutely right. That's not my history. My history is after the slaves being taken over from Africa to Haiti, which I guess some would disbelieve. I do believe that there are probably some indigenous people that are already in Haiti, but there are also many of them that are from Africa, from the slave trade. They managed to receive their independence. I think they got some assistance from Poland, but they managed to receive their independence from France. And then at the same time had to pay France reparations, which started their, their their third worldness and, their drought essentially into where they're at now, especially with the government that they have or lack thereof and all that good jazz. Anyways, so where was I even going with that? Yes. So that is my history. That is my family's history. It's different from the Black American or the foundational Black American history. But I will say this, and I will say this for the people that are Black, because you say foundationally Black, okay, that's cool, but how many people that have grown up as Black think that they're Black? Because there are people that feel the same anguish or feel the same need to constantly bring up slavery when it comes to growth and stuff like that, that are actually Haitian. And so the FBA would say, nah, that ain't you. You misinformed. You not with us, because that's what I was that's what I was told. Granted, that was one person, so I may be rage baiting at that point. But it's just so interesting. Anyways, going back to the main points that I took about here. Masterpiece says a couple of interesting things, that Black people cannot work together. It's always so weird because there's just some type of, I don't know, headbutting that constantly happens with Black people, the average Black person, the unprofessional Black person. And when I say unprofessional, I mean if we're in a specific area, a specific career, and they are not, I don't know, have a mindset to really do better. We're constantly in the mindset of survival, and if that means I gotta clip you so that I can get ahead, then yeah, that's kind of the bad side of capitalism. But it's like, I don't know. And again, everything that I say is subjective, and it's not all Black people. That's what I'm going to keep saying. It's not all Black people, but when you see it a lot, then it's like, okay, well, this is at least what's happening in my community. I think there is definitely an education that needs to happen in the Black community, and that's really the only way for Black people to get ahead. Can you still educate yourself now? Yes, that's absolutely fine. But for like a group of us to just, and I say us as in, I guess, those of the melanin, to just be up. No, let me not do that, because the FBAs would not agree. When it comes to the FBAs, let me talk about the FBAs. And I'm probably going to get hate for that as well. But when it comes to the FBAs, the only way that I can see like a slew of a whole bunch of them just like doing well and be successful is when the generation now teaches the next generation to do so. And it can't be, again, with the mindset of slavery. But we'll see what the other people, the other TikTokers have to say, because I know there's people on TikTok that's got something to say about this. And the last thing I want to say is in regards to ownership. It's when we talk about ownership, we just mean you have no skin in the game. You're not in there. And when it comes to ownership could literally come in part of owning a stock of the company. Yes, you may own just one stock of a couple of hundreds of thousands or maybe million stocks in a business, but that one stock means that you are invested in that company. Let's say that you invest $50 in better yet, let me put it like this. When I first got out of college and I was, getting introduced to stocks, I heard of Carvana. I just heard of Carvana. And I put in $50. I put in $150 because it was like $50 a stock for Carvana. Great. $50. I didn't even have that much money anyways, but it was just a matter of investing. So I invested the $50. And if you guys don't know, as a couple years progressed, that $50, it became $500 each. I didn't sell at that point, so I'm pretty sure that is down now. But I have ownership in Carvana, and that's way more than a lot of people in the community are doing. So it's like when you invest, when you not invested in stocks, when you educate the young to already know what these things are, that's how they can do better, quicker in the future, instead of just letting them run on their TikToks and their Instagrams and stuff like that. Because that seems to be the directions that a lot of them are going in. I don't want to say all, but a lot of them. But let's go ahead, and I want to jump into, let's see. I want to jump into some TikToks, see what we got going on. I got a couple people that probably saying some stuff. I need somebody that disagrees. Okay, here we go.
So Master P came out and said that magically melanated, aka black people in the United States, need to stop harping on slavery. That ain't gonna help build the racial wealth gap. That's what he said. And that's why I don't rock with cats like Master P or any of these celebrities.
But why? Okay, let me let him talk. I'm just wondering why.
Because majority of them, especially,
that's literally like saying a young person, a young Jewish person, allowing the Holocaust to cause them to, not continue the Jewish traditions, or to continue to hide in fear and stuff like that. It's literally the same thing. I don't see no Jews that are struggling by no degree, none. Well, that I've seen. Let me put it like that. Let's keep going.
especially if they magically melanated, aka black, they're not rocking with us. They're not. They're rocking with the system that's gonna keep. What's that video I saw? Keep serving them buttered biscuits.
Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about in my other video when I was asking the FBA dude. I said that there's what type of black person, if you want to live in the suburbs, you want to live in your quiet area, there's not too much noise, you're trying to stay away from the ghetto ness, what type of black person are you? And he said, you're just a civilized black person. And then I'm like, okay, well, if this is what you call a civilized black person, then why is it that the people of the black people of the community call that civilized black person a white black person? And this is what it sounds like right here, because the people that are thinking on Master P's length, they are what I would consider civilized black people. They're not going to talk about slavery. They're not going to talk about the stuff that happened years ago. Did he say that he doesn't know what happened years ago? Of course, he probably has listened to the history and knows of the slavery, but that doesn't mean that he's going to keep allowing it to come up. That's called a trauma for something that he himself probably didn't experience too much of and doesn't experience now. I mean, that's literally the whole case. When you think about negative stuff like that, it does something to you. When you think about it often, it does something to you, and it makes your mind shifts in a way. You think that it doesn't. That's why you're like, oh, never forget, never forget. But continuously think about negative things, you start to think negatively. And that tends to not pan well for people. But let me just stop talking. Let me keep going.
Off the preserve. That video was funny. But yeah, that's what he says.
Mm-hmm.
We got to quit harping on that, because he don't harp on me. But I asked Master P, do you know about the Social Security Act of 1935?
Again, 1935, something that I need to check up, and it probably does have something to affect the black people up until this day, whatever the case may be. It says 1935. In the past. Let's keep going. Before Civil Rights Act. Let's keep going.
The Wagner Act. We know about redlining.
Yes.
FICO scores, how they were created.
Okay.
Remember when school?
But till this day, black people can still obtain a high credit limit if they just don't, if they stop having to foreclose on homes, having to stop, getting maxed out on their credit cards and not paying them back, having to file bankruptcy, all this stuff. Maybe they would have a decent credit score. I don't know. What is he talking about?
School and law school and college used to be free until we started going out there. You had to pay.
You can get an absolutely fabulous job. I know several people, but one guy specifically I know that went to a community college to study software engineering and is now making six figures, probably almost close to $500,000. I know somebody that did that, and there's probably plenty of people that did that. You don't have to go to an Ivy League school to for what? For what? You're just trying to live and make it out here. If we're just trying to live and make it, why do you need to go to the Ivy League schools? Ivy League schools doesn't guarantee you anything. There's plenty of people that are in Ivy League schools that are working non-Ivy League school jobs. So again, where are we going?
You know about the Homestead Act that took millions and millions of acres away from magically melanated, aka black people? Huh? Because when I think about that, my dad was a sharecropper in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. That was a form of servitude. His dad, my granddad. So his granddad was enslaved. That's 2-3 generations ago. But that's what he fixes his mouth to say.
So again, what are you doing right now? What is that information doing for you right now? Because this is information. It's something that you can change. It's nothing that you lived. What is it doing for you right now? That's literally Master P's point. If this information isn't helping you right now, then there's no reason to allow it to keep festering in your mind. Again, you don't forget what happened because this is information, this is history. But y'all see where I'm coming from with this, right? Y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all see where I'm coming from with this, right?
And also, every time we got a heads up, a hand up, and started building wealth, our towns and institutions got burned down. It just wasn't Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Seneca Village, which is now Central Park, Vanport, Oregon, Benson, Alabama. I can go on and on now.
And again, when did these happen? Because allow these things to happen right now, and you can easily sue. Allow these things to happen right now, somebody's going to jail. If anything, as we see, and this is probably gonna rustle up a lot of feathers. And if I post this on TikTok, I'm gonna get a lot of hate comments. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna post it on TikTok, but I'm gonna say it here. All it takes is for a police officer to end the life of a black person, and black people will destroy their own. As we've seen. Tell me that's a lie. Tell me every time that there's a riot, there's not people that's out here rioting and looting and stealing from the stores and vandalism and destroying. Tell me that's not the case. And the crazy thing is, they didn't do it for the white people. They didn't go and destroy the white people's neighborhoods. They didn't go and destroy the white people's stuff. They didn't go and destroy the police offices. They didn't go and destroy City Hall. Nothing. They destroyed their local town. So again,
here in Memphis, when we had started doing that, having amazing amounts of wealth and banks, they took the banks, took the money.
Okay, I'm done with this guy because he's just continuously talking about stuff of the past, and this is exactly what Master P is talking about. Let's keep going.
I swear, every time these famous people open their mouth, they show us two things. One, a lot of them are very lacking in intelligence. Like, you can literally tell a lot of these famous people are not smart. And two, they always have something to say that's some colonizer bullshit. Now, we've got people, we're finding black women and men being strange fruited left and right. We've got Nolan Wells situation. We got Carmelo Anthony situation. And all these rich, famous black people are mute mouth and ain't saying a damn word about none of this stuff that's going on. They ain't.
Okay, still not sure about the case with the young woman in Mississippi that was just recently hanged. Nolan Wells situation, still don't have exact evidence of what happened, but once again, we keep talking about race, and we still don't know who exactly did it, but they're still pointing at the white's friends, even though evidence has time and time again has shown they weren't there and they weren't a part of whatever happened. So again, still a mystery, but we're still gonna harp on it that it was racism. And yeah, so again, lack of evidence, but we're just so sure.
Talking about the fact that people's food is being poisoned because they have chefs and access. They're not talking about the fact that Gary, Indiana has no power. But you'll get on these podcasts and talk about how we need to stop talking about slavery because get out of the negative mindset. Talking about slavery is not a negative mindset. If anything, it's a mindset of us understanding and knowing what our people went through and knowing we're never going back there.
The problem... Oh my God.
It's actually empowering to know our people fought hard for us to have things and we have to continue that fight. Not talking about is doing what white people want to do and sweep it under the rug like it didn't happen. But the reality is we are still suffering the effects of slavery today. And when y'all want to get in the comments talking about, well, I didn't own slaves and I didn't benefit, you did benefit. You benefited because when enslaved people were freed, everyone who owned slaves, all these white enslavers, they got paid reparations for every single loss of property, which was the loss of the enslaved people. So you got paid per head, like we were still a material item. Number two, because of that, because of then laws and rules and redlining and keeping black people from being able to buy homes, keeping black people from being able to be in banking, all of the things that y'all did to try to keep black people from having the same opportunities are why we continue to stay behind. All started with slavery. And to this day, we still don't have the same rights. Y'all can think that we do, but we've seen it play out in the justice system. We've seen it played out in corporate America. We see it played out daily where black people still don't have the same access and the same privileges as white people. So to say, let's stop talking about it and acting like we're all equal and we're not is tone deaf as and actually continues to show how y'all need to just shut up. If you're not going to say anything that is positive for our people, then just be quiet. Because you clearly don't read books, you don't know history, and you're just someone who got lucky and made it because you had a modicum of talent and a lot of will. But at the end of the day, if you didn't have that and weren't ready to be able to step and fetch it for white entertainment, you would not be where.
Okay, she said a lot that I'm not too fond of, and I probably got to go back. Because she said a lot towards the end that I'm just like, bro. And you know, I'm not that quick on my feet. So it seems like reparations in America, it seems like the only way that you're really gonna get reparations is in the case of loss of property. So let me put it this way. So like with the Haitians and when they got their independence, America assisted in helping the French get reparations from Haiti, the loss of property. Okay. And now you're saying that the South got their reparations, or the white people of the South got their reparations from loss of property, aka the black people. Okay. And when we're talking about the Native Americans, I guess what we call the Indian natives, they got their reparations due to loss of property. Okay, all that makes sense. Just going off of that, what you're saying, and again, I'm dumb. I may not be understanding this correctly, but just off of that, all of that seems to be revolving around the case of loss of property. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about this objectively. When it comes to slaves, you were a slave, you didn't own property. So you didn't lose. If you didn't lose anything, how are we going to give you reparations for something that you didn't lose? That's just going off on the mindset of what she's saying. That is all that I am saying. And that's all that I know right now in regards to those that actually obtain reparations. Now, there may be more that I don't know. Go ahead and educate me in the comment section, because we all here to learn and all that stuff and get better understanding and whatnot. So that was the first thing that she said. Let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. So she talked about staying behind in regards to not being able to, I don't know, they keep talking about banking. What do they mean by banking? Like own a bank? Maybe own a bank, I guess. I don't know. And being able to buy homes. Guys, if you have a high debt to income ratio, they're not going to give you a loan. And I've seen this myself. I went to a loaner when I was trying to buy a house. I told him how much I was making, and homie's attitude immediately shifted. He had no clue. He had no clue if I was black or anything like that. I just told him how much I was making and how much I was trying to get. And he was like, bro, this guy ain't doing nothing. I ain't trying to work with this guy. So again, debt to income, credit score, that can all be fixed if we just, stop buying stuff that we don't need and stop buying stuff temporarily. But again, this isn't all black people. This is only some that aren't able to do these things. How many businesses that I have that are black owned? Let's keep going. And the last thing that she mentioned was about this not being positive. This is positive. To me, this is positive. Anything mentally that can hold you back, get rid of it. Don't forget it, but don't use it as a crutch. That's what we're saying. When we think about slavery, it's negative. And when you're talking about it with white people, it tends to be even more negative for you. When most negative things tend to be fire to the flames or gasoline to the flames. And again, this isn't. Oh, and that's the last thing I did want to say. The black people that are doing well, that aren't falling into these, mindsets, negative mindsets when it comes to slavery, they're not saying anything. They are living their best lives, and that's what I'm noticing. And maybe they're the problem. They're living their best lives. They're going to work. They got these high-paying jobs. They're, making their families. They're living out in the suburbs, and they $500,000 houses and stuff like that, and their Maseratis and all that stuff. They ain't doing absolutely nothing. Let me not say absolutely nothing for the community, but it's like they're the ones that came up from nothing and made something for themselves. But I'm pretty sure that the mindset for them is, I'm not going to try and go back and help them come up if it comes at a cost of destroying what it is that I have right now, or destroying the integrity, my word, if anything. So one thing, especially for me, that I will say, if I'm going to give somebody a reference, I'm going to make sure that I know exactly who it is that's giving this job. I'm not going to reference somebody that I don't know. I don't know their work ethic, and I think that they're not going to be fit to do well in the job. If you just so happen to be black, then you just so happen to be black. If you're white, then that's the same situation. But me being the color that I am, most of my friends are going to be either Haitian or probably black. And if you don't meet these qualifications for me to give you a reference, then I'm not going to give you a reference. That's just point blank, period. And then people can sit here and be like, oh, you're not trying to help out the whole beat. No, they are. I'm not going to allow them to ruin my reputation and how people think of me. If they need to amp their game up and show me that they can do the job, and show me that they're trustworthy, show me that they're honest, show me that they got integrity, then go ahead and do such things. But I'm not just going to sit here and put somebody on because they're my homeboy. No, that doesn't make sense. All that to say is that I think there is an issue with the black people that are doing well, and they're not speaking up. They're not doing more, whatever more would be for the community, for it to feel like a force in the black community in order to do so. They're kind of just living their lives as Americans, and then they don't associate themselves with the culture. I don't know, guys. Remember, I'm just a Haitian. I'm just a Haitian American. So whatever I say doesn't matter anyways. But yeah, let me know in the comment section. Tell me something, educate me, whatever you got. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.